Hello and welcome to the 12th episode of, gotta fix that, Real Estate Advice with Victoria Mead. Woo, sorry, I couldn't even think of what I had to say. I don't know why my camera's all messed up too. Weird. Anyways, welcome to the 12th episode today. So my topic is going to be mostly just questions that I've been asked recently. So not going to be a formal topic, just some questions that I've been asked by buyers and sellers recently that I figured, hey, they had questions. Maybe somebody else would enjoy hearing that. So if you're here, comment below, say hello. And then if you're watching this as a replay, thanks for watching. And then if you have any questions, feel free to comment them below. And then once I'm done going over my discussion here, then I will answer your questions. So let's see. Hi, Mom. Thanks for joining. All right. Here we go. So we'll start with buyer questions. So the first one is, how do I know how much to offer the seller? So when a buyer is ready to write an offer for a house, they're like, well, how much do I offer? How do I know that? So if they have representation by an agent, then their agent should be pulling comparable properties for them to show them what recently or what prices have been recently that sold for houses that are similar. So in this market, it's actually really hard to find good comps for you to tell you how much you should offer because of how much buyers are paying over and above. It's really hard to tell you what the market value is when the market is constantly changing in this crazy market. But they will give you the most accurate houses that have sold that are similar to the one you want to make an offer on. If you do not have representation, then you need to figure that out yourself. All right, and then how long does it take for the seller to respond to an offer? So that really depends on the situation. Some states have deadlines, so their contract will say, you know, this contract is good for 72 hours or whatever their contract says. In New Hampshire, it doesn't have a deadline, so they can really take as long as they want, but they do need to be aware that you can withdraw your offer at any time. So in certain situations, there are deadlines. So a lot of times nowadays, they'll be like, oh, Monday at 12 p.m. is the deadline for this house. Submit your highest and best offer. So usually after that, if they're going to go over it that night, you'll probably hear that night or you'll hear the next day usually. So that's pretty much what I tell people is we don't really know how long the sellers are going to take, but usually it's not too long, especially if there was a deadline in place. And then can we close sooner than the date on the contract? So on the purchase and sales agreement, it says on or before, and then it has the date. So you can close on or before that date if both parties agree. Usually when you submit the purchase and sales to a lender, the lender goes off of that number that's in the purchase and sales agreement. So if it says July 16th, everyone's shooting for July 16th. But if the loan gets done sooner and everyone can close, you can absolutely close before that date if everyone agrees. And then after highest and best, do we have another chance, or is that the only chance we have to get this house? So the answer to that is normally when they ask for highest and best, they're going to take the highest and best offer. That's it. You're not going to have a second round where you can go back and try again. So when it's highest and best, give it your all. And then what happens when our buyer's agency contract is over? Does it automatically renew? So normally I'll do a contract with buyer's agencies for 6 months. Some agents do a year, but I'm way more optimistic than that. So I do 6 months. And then if that contract, if it goes past the 6 months and it kind of lapses, then we can decide, hey, are you still looking? Do you want to renew this or do you want to renew this later? Blah, blah, blah. It just kind of automatically goes away after that. It's just over. And then why is FHA loans less favorable in this market than conventional? So the only real reason, which FHA loans are great. They're awesome for first-time homebuyers. The only difference is appraisers have to do more in-depth appraisals, inspections, I should say, when they're there. So for example, they have to run the appliances, they have to check to make sure there's hot water, they have to go in the attic, versus a conventional appraiser, they'll just be like, whatever, that looks fine. Oh, hot water, who cares? They don't really care as much about condition. So if there's chipping paint, doesn't matter, cool, whatever, they'll take care of it. Excuse my cat, sorry. So yeah, FHA appraisals are more in depth. Like they'll need outlet covers put on if they're not there. They're gonna need you to. This big cat. Let me get him out of the way. They're gonna need railings for stairs if there's too many stairs and there's no railing, things like that. So anyways, sellers tend to want conventional buyers because they know that the process of the appraisal will be easier for them than having to deal with potential issues with an FHA. Other than that, they're there's nothing wrong with FHA. And then how are showings scheduled? Showings are scheduled a lot of times through a showing service called Showing Time. We'll go right on there, we'll request a showing, and then we'll wait for either the seller or the seller's agent to confirm. Sometimes we have to go through the agent directly, email them, call them until they finally answer their phone, and then finally let us go in. But normally agents, especially around the southern New Hampshire area, have all started using a Showing Time service, which is very convenient. So those are the buyer questions. Seller questions. How long does an appraisal take? Is there anything special that I should do to my house to get ready for the appraisal? So appraisals are around 20 minutes long. The appraiser is going to go in there. They're going to draw a layout. They're going to take pictures of every room, take some notes, and then they're going to head out. Anything special to do with your home? Make it look good. I mean, obviously at that point you're going to be packing and things like that, but try to make your house look as presentable as possible, because obviously they can see past things, but it is good to have the house in good condition so that they see it at its best. And then, does my current mortgage get paid off for me at closing? And if so, who pays it? So yes, your current market gets paid off at closing. The title company will ask you in this questionnaire that they send you, they're going to ask you for the payoff information. You're going to send that to them. They're going to ask your current mortgage person to give them the number. They're going to pay it off at closing. And then you won't have to deal with it again. So you're not going to have to call, cancel, and go through all that. The title company actually takes care of that for you. And then looks like I have two more things. Oh no, just one more thing. So a lot of sellers right now are worried because they paid their July bill already for the taxes. And they say, well, I already paid it. Am I going to get paid at closing for that? Am I going to get reimbursed? The answer is yes. So the title company is going to call and make sure that they get the correct amounts, what's already been paid, and then they're going to prorate and calculate what the buyer ends up owing you or what you end up owing the buyer, depending on how that works. So those are my questions that have recently come up. So I hope that helps somebody. Now I will go to questions if there are any, and or just say, hello, Allie. Thanks for coming on. Let's see. Anybody else? Oh, my screen keeps messing up. Can't see the comments. There we go. Okay. So if we don't have any more comments, questions, or anything like that, then I am going to head off for the night. But I will be back on next Friday, 7 p.m. So start thinking of some questions and come back next week, 7 p.m. with them. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I'll see you next week.